Good morning, good evening, wherever you are, Lord of Darkness, and welcome to Raid Across New York, Werewolf venue. On tonight's scene, we're gonna see Raphael, who had a long conversation with the two fellow dogs of the Striders of Ice and Concrete, and he decided that, well, get yourself a treat. So he brought corn seeds, and he just decided to sit on on one of the bench of the sept, and he is currently feeding crows or pigeons, pretty much any fucking bird that's standing around. Because let's be honest, like we're not gonna be, oh look, it's Shadow Lord. Like no, you go crow. Like obviously that's your guy. Like nah, fuck that shit. It's seed. Fuck you. So yeah,
Pigeons.
yeah. There's pigeons. There's crow who probably like just just shove them, being like, "Nah, I'm bigger. Here, fuck you." Nice and cool, isn't it?
Is he? Yeah, as he's sitting there, there is a very small figure walking into the sept. He's wearing mostly blue, white, some bits of gray and brown clothing. Look very. They're hinting towards native clothing. Like you can see, like the person is wearing like linen pants and in a sort of brownish gray shoe and wearing actually a rather thick jacket even for especially for summer. The hood is pulled down and she's looking to the ground in a way that hides her face from basically anyone and anything. Hands are stuffed in her pockets. Um, yeah, she's very fucking small. And is walking like almost straight past Raphael. She does not look up. Um, and she's turning to the left of the path where you can just see like a couple of bushes and then the shore of the lake. Probably Raphael can still see her as she throws her hood back, revealing her brown, almost black hair. It's pulled up in a bun right now to make sure that it won't slip from under the hood. And she's probably standing with her back towards him, and she actually takes off the jacket, and as she does so, she's wearing like a sleeveless light blue shirt, and strangely enough, a very thick set of woolen gloves that she also takes off. And as she takes them off, Raphael can see her fingers and her hands are all like a bloody mess at that point. And when they are off, like in seconds, you can see the hand starting to heal up with the webbing in between the fingers, restoring itself. Um, she washes her hands in the water so that they're clean, and then starts to undress, making ready to take a swim in the lake.
And he's gonna look at his watch, checking the time. I don't think that's really the hour for a midnight bath.
She
He can appreciate the
slowly
birds.
turns around, pulls her top back down. Um, Luckily, not. She wasn't completely undressed yet, although she doesn't look like a person to really care about it. And as she looks around, yeah, you can see the two almost pale blue eyes. That kind of stand off from her very well, you know, not pale skin. um, and across her left cheek, if I'm right, and into her neck on the same side, actually, he can see some very deep scars running. Um, Otherwise, she probably wouldn't have been ugly if it hadn't been for those scales in her neck and on certain places of her face. But the scars kind of give an extra twist to that as well. And she will slowly walk up to this new face.
Why, hello there. I guess you must be as he, squints his eyes. Tlatehin on the Wendigo tribe.
And who might you be?
Rafael de la Villa, Hamed, Cleef of the Shadow Lord tribe, Ragabash.
Yes, my name is Tlatain. I'm also known as Raven's Third Eye. I am Metis, the Urge, Fostern of the Wendigo tribe. I'm also the Alpha of the Children of the Spirit Wilds, back on this sept.
Yeah, I heard about your pack. And
Did you?
he he nods. My job to ask questions. So I ask questions. And he will still show throat for a few for like 3 seconds.
And she'll actually like kind of let her nails like slide over his throat as a there's sort of like a homid variation of biting because
Mm-hmm.
biting in homid form is just weird.
Yeah, no. I mean, unless you want to give me smoochies, but
uh,
you know, I don't think that's what we're going for.
no, no, no. So yeah, she just kind of lets her nails kind of slide past his throat, not even like
Mm-hmm.
scratching or anything, just and then nods. So I am surprised that you have heard of us, but I presume that you are new to the sept, as I do not recognize your face.
Yeah, just arrived 3 days ago, all fresh and new. So I asked a few questions around, obviously.
Obviously.
Well, when you arrive into a new place, it's better to know who you're talking to. You know, gets easier to know and to interact with people.
I suppose
Hmm.
one could counter that with saying that listening to others might color your judgment on someone before you've even met them, therefore not giving you the opportunity to judge for yourself and form your own opinion.
But thankfully, I'm not a judge. I'm not
Hmm.
here to pass judgment. I'm just here to point the finger, make fun of people, make them remember that perhaps the plan that they think is the best plan might actually not be very sound of mind.
That still means that you judge a situation or an individual. After all, you choose whom to prank and whom not to. That is a judgment in itself. We all judge.
True, but some of us have the privilege of actually passing judgment, while most of us are only trapped by our own personal opinions.
And how do you know for sure that the opinion that you have is not someone else's opinion made your own because you only listen to them?
That's the interesting part, because if you listen to them, that's not the opinions that they have on others that matters. It's what transpires about their personality that is important.
Probably, but if I put my hand on a freshly painted stone and would remove my hand, paint to my fingers,
That's also why you washed your hand out of the blood into the river, and then your hands are clean. That's why we have soap.
then you do need to realize that your hand was dirty in the first place.
Well, I mean, have you looked at the place? Like, it's dirty as fuck. And
This
whatever you touch, someone has touched it. Disgusting.
this is the big scar after all. Everything here is tainted one way or another.
Mm, that's true, but not as much as the pistachios that they serve you at bars. They are full of piss.
Pistachios? I'm afraid I'm unfamiliar with that word.
Uh, it's small, small nuts that they serve salted at bars. The only problem is that they are generally freely given or distributed, and a lot of people, when they go and pee, well, they don't wash their hand, which, according to research, have shown that those nuts are most of the time full of pee, so you shouldn't really eat them.
I see. I've never gone to a bar, so I wouldn't be able to tell.
Hmm. Yet you've entered into the city. I can't say I've seen a lot of metas do that.
In this place, it's hard to avoid a city, and sometimes we feel forced to go into the city. Sometimes it is the best option, and sometimes, well, some of us apparently like it there. I
Hmm.
do prefer the grounds of the Sept. Where do you hail from then?
Mexico. I'm
I
from
see.
the sept of the Earth's mother.
Interesting. I have
And
heard of that place.
oh, and he straight up his back, dropping like all the seeds, and like, yeah, on the pigeon and the crow are like, yeah, seed shower in slow mo, like, yes, give me that seed. And then he looks at her I would be very curious in what way you've heard of this sept, if you don't mind me asking.
I've heard it was very warm.
Ah, and I guess you must come from a very cold place.
I come from the north. My sept where I grew up is called the Sept of the Four Seasons. It's in Canada at the sea.
Hmm. Oh, I guess we're both stranger in the US of A.
She seems to think about it for a moment because she's heard of the United States, but the US of A is something that's new to her. So you can see her looking confused for a moment, then connecting the dots. It's like, yes. Why have you come here?
And he he just take both of his hands and he just, oh, we got a winner.
Oh,
Oh yeah, you're the first one to actually start up with this question.
I see.
Well, I mean, most of the time because I started the conversation and led the conversation, asking questions. Can you tell me about this apocalyptic monster that seems to roam in the museum? Can you tell me about the fuck up with the kinfolk? Hey, can you tell me your opinion on Pax? Hey, why are you so salty about this guy? And then we ask, hey, by the way, why are you here? So, why am I here? Well, I'm here because my elder told me to come here for spiritual reasons. Or maybe because he was bored and because your kind is just weird.
My kind.
Your auspice.
You think us weird?
Well, let me put it from anybody else's perspective. You guys talk with spirits all fucking day long. And when I enter into a room to talk to my Rayas and I see them hanging upside down and making some kind of weird dance, and then they say, hey, Raphael, you should totally, smither yourself with blood on your face for a month and perhaps, live with a pig for a whole week. And when I ask, why the fuck would I do that, Raya? And they say, for spiritual shimonage and other things. To other Garus, sometimes you Garus are fucking weird.
Might that have had to do with the fact that since these were your elders, you were not able to ask a more specific reason? Over here, I have learned that explaining why someone pays a chiminage and what the chiminage is for is more efficient into getting others' cooperation. If I help the Sept by making a deal with the Dream Raven so that they can see fairly what's happening, and I explained to them that this is what I did, and in return, I would like to ask for their assistance in building a shrine for them. And they understand better than if I were just to order them to tell us to build a shrine.
Hmm. Are we talking about the Shadowrunner case here?
No.
Okay, because it sounded a little bit similar to what, well, the Duke of Salt have told me.
The Duke of Salt.
Silverfang, Philodox, Ostern, Jacob Clay.
Jacob Raya.
Yep.
Interesting deed name.
Uh, it's not really a deed name. He hasn't earned it. And I'm not a Galliard. It's just, it's easier. It's easier for me to categorize people by giving them nicknames.
I see. And in what category would I fall then? And in what category would you place yourself?
Hmm. Well, technically, I'm Raphael.
You do not feel the need to nickname yourself?
Well, that feel egotistical to nickname myself. I let that job to others. I give them the courtesy of giving them nickname. It's only fair that they are free to give me a nickname in return.
There is a faint smile on Latine's face.
But as for you, as he looks at her as he studies her. Well, I could go with a very very obvious one, the numerous obvious one, should I say? Considering you're a menace. Mm, but I feel we're not in that relationship yet.
I
So
see.
for now, until I have a better grasp of your personality. For now, you're Talatihin, Raya, or the nice Wendigo that did slice my throat on first occasion.
Have you met many Wendigo who did?
Well, not really. That's also part of giving a stereotype to a tribe, just as people think I'm going to backstab them because who can trust a Shadow Lord really?
No, but you can't.
Exactly.
But then again, let's not just go for the Shadow Lords.
Ah, now we touch the heart of the subject.
Do we?
Asshole. Yeah. I mean, you can have a tribe of asshole. We prefer to think of ourselves as realists. Some might say we're a bunch of nihilists. That's also true. But the heart of the matter is that you have assholes in every tribe. But it's easier to point at people with a finger. And, he uh, he point a finger at Latte. The Wendigo are fucking angry all the time. Like, geez, what? Why would they be so angry with us? Like, we're nice. We're nice and we try to help them. He points a finger at himself. Oh, gee, look at that guy. He's a shadow. Like you can trust him because he's gonna betray you, to advance his political agenda. Oh no, can't turn your back on a shadow lord.
I mean, when he's talking about Wendigo and
Mm-hmm.
pointing at her, even though she knows that he's like pointing out a stereotype and everything,
Mm-hmm.
eyes become colder and he can probably hear her teeth gritting.
Mm-hmm.
She won't react any further than that, but it's obviously that it's annoying her.
Mm. It's annoying, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you can't really change the mind of a nation because even if they, if they make kissy face with you, deep down, deep down, you know, there's always gonna be a little voice that's gonna say, "Hey, what they say about stereotypes. They got to start somewhere." which is really the tragedy of the nation, because we can't trust each other.
Perhaps. I think the nation knows many tragedies. So, now that you have arrived in the sept for spiritual enlightenment, as you say, what are your plans?
Oh, what are my plans?
I don't need to ask you about mine.
Oh, yeah, sorry. What did she say?
She says, I don't need to ask you about my plans. So she's asking about yours, obviously.
Yeah, and he goes, well, my plans. Ooh, oh boy, do I look like a guy with a plan? And as he, he puts a hand on his chest, like looking around as if she's, talking to somebody else. Oh my. Okay. Oh, that's me. Okay. As he's straight up his hair a little bit, take a little bit more presentable aspect. Well, and he take a deep breath, like lift a finger. Actually, I have no idea.
I see.
Currently, currently, I'm trying to understand the political situation of this sept, and apparently, you guys have a lot of issues.
I think with the sept, with this many tribes, with this many upbringings and opinions, it is only logical that we would have many issues outside of the issues that this city and this place are providing for us.
Hmm. So, would you say that having a firm direction would actually change things? That having firm tribal dominance would actually change something?
I would say inside the sept, yes. However,
Hmm.
I think that the sept is a very good reflection on the Garu nation, since there are so many of us coming from different tribes and different places with different opinions. In a way, the sept reflects the nation as a whole. So, yes, except if this would be solely a bonar sept, as is its alpha,
Hmm.
would be less difference of opinion, less difference in upbringing, less difference in the way someone works,
Hmm.
but it would change the sept, not the nation.
And he points the finger. Now you see that's why you guys are different. You you talk you talk very wisdom heavy, while half of a nation is more we should kill stuff and beat people up because that's obviously the solution. You're a little nugget of wisdom, aren't you?
I would not refer to myself as such.
The nugget or the wisdom? Because little you are.
As I do not understand the word nuggets. And wisdom, I feel, is something that comes with time and years and insights. And I think anyone living on a sept that is run by Mother Larissa Raya could not call themselves wise with her presence, even in the same sept.
Hmm, interesting argument. Personally, I well, first of all, um, and he he actually opened his little his little notebook, and there's so those are qualified as nuggets, as he draw a nugget of gold and chicken McNuggets. So those can qualify as nuggets for your future information, because knowing is half the battle. As for wisdom, I kind of agree that it's hard to have wisdom contrary to elders, because they survived to old age, either because they were the luckiest son of a bitch, or because they were actually you know wise and competent, which generally tends to be more the case. But if you think that, well, that's you know your opinion is fine and dandy, but personally, I think that you can find wisdom everywhere. It's more of a perspective point of view. You may not think that what you say is wise, but from my upbringing, from my, you know, personal opinion and story, what you say to me may sound wise and actually make me go on my way. So, in a way, wisdom can be universal, yes, but it also depends on your audience.
But from what you say now, the nickname you just
Mm-hmm.
gave me does not make sense. Because if what you say is true, then we are all little or somewhat bigger nuggets of wisdom in our own right. So you would basically call everyone that. And instead, you decide to point this to me.
Well, then think of it more as an award. And if I find someone who's a better little nugget of wisdom, I will take it back and strap on their back, and they will become their new little nugget of wisdom, if that seems more fair to you.
It's I don't still don't truly understand your entire reason of nicknaming things.
Hmm.
So if you wish to call me as such, then I do not object. Why would I?
Okay, let me make it simpler, because I'm bored.
Ah,
I can remember everything. When someone gives me a name and a face, it stays. So, when I think of someone, I go into my little happy place in my mind. I go to the library, I take the book, and I have to read the information about this person. It's extremely boring. So it's easier and funnier for me to give nicknames to people, because that makes my library searching less boring.
as he starts to explain that, Platohin's expression kind of changes, like ever so slightly. Seems to become a bit mournful almost, as she will nod gravely and says, "I am very sorry to hear that."
He doesn't know what to say, actually, to that statement. And
I mean,
this, yeah, like it's
you know what?
confusing.
I don't want to roll dice, so I think I'm just gonna tell you, like, if he wants to, he can pick up that she's saying this because like there is some recognition in her voice.
Yeah,
But I'll leave it up to you whether he would catch on to that or not.
yeah, yeah. No, and also because I know two of a reference you might be speaking of, and he nods. Huh. Well, that's actually the first one that someone told me such a thing. Generally, it's more like, "Oh, that's awesome," and "Oh, Raphael, you're so useful. You're my little walking dictionary." But I guess we must all carry our burden.
When humans were younger, there were many things they did not understand. So they started calling it gods, started honoring it. The principle of honoring or glorifying that which you don't understand still counts for many. It takes someone who knows to understand.
And you know he just he nods and smirk, and you don't really need a peony on that, because it's the kind of smirk that he had when he was talking, little nugget of wisdom. And fears are weird because they talk they talk, and it's full of wisdom, and you're like, okay, I will nod. Ah, hmm. I've answered many of your questions. I would actually like your opinion on two matters. Well, rather three, but I feel that, well, one is slightly less urgent, and as you're feared, you have it handled, considering it's your packmate.
She will again kind of like her eyes kind of ice up a little bit when she's talking about her packmate because she's rather protective of him at this point. Um, but she'll nod. Well, you have answered my questions. It's more than fair that I should at least try and listen to yours and answer what I can.
I mean, mine are pretty straightforward.
Mm.
What can you tell me exactly about the kinfolk incident? I
Which
have.
one?
Oh, that's great. That's great. That's great. You see, this is why I like theaters, because the judge, he's got to focus on the last case. But okay, so there's more than one case. Okay,
I think, in a
so
way, most of it is connected
mm,
only through
ah
time.
yes, the domino effect. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Ah, so from what I gathered, the Wormful and the Guardian have passed an order to all kinfolk to stay here, and apparently, well, it was supposed to stop 5 to 10 minutes after one day, whatever, but it didn't, and apparently nobody really cared about this. So, I mean, I would be very interested in your opinion, but I think I think currently, oh yeah, like my second question, I can put it on hold. What can you tell me about the previous incident?
Ah,
Pretty
the
please.
first time we had a riot of kinfolk, there was tension between the pure tribes and the Fianna and the Get. A Fianna murdered a kin of the Uktena tribe.
He pinched the bridge of his nose. Oh, Madre de Dio. That's so fucking stupid.
The Fianna Medis responsible was not sentenced to death as many asked for. Many of the pure tribes, well, when this Medis was found, he was found by a couple of Garu of the Sept, myself and my sister included. Well, we are not Uktena. We still consider elder brother our brother. And naturally, we were very upset. Mistakes were made. And she is, oh god, yeah, she needs to spend the willpower for this, because
Yeah.
this is her trying to suppress herself from lying, because certain she doesn't know how to speak. So you can actually see her closing her eyes and pinching the bridge of her nose for a moment as she seems to focus. I was extremely angry and howled out to my brothers of the pure tribes. It was a howl of vengeance. It eventually reached, well, the facts, and the anger reached the kinfolk. This was not to my doing, as I do not interact with kinfolk. I am a Metis. But many pure tribe were upset. Many kin of the pure tribe were upset and felt unsafe. On the other hand, the Fianna and the Get kinfolk felt that the pure tribes were hiding things and were getting away with things way too easy. And most likely also felt threatened. Situation grew tense to a place where two mobs stood opposite of each other, and we had to jump in. We tried reasoning, but in the end it was Jacob who ordered them to stand back and to return home. It was most efficient. Now, this was several months ago, and over time tensions started to die away, as especially kin do not have as much rage or as long a memory as some of us. But then kin got murdered by black spiral dancers disguising as one of our own. And the kin were indeed told to stay on Sept for safety, as they were afraid of their lives. And many, well, accepted that order and came here and lived here for several weeks. Again, as I said, I tend to stay away from kin and only interact with them when it's absolutely necessary. So I was mostly unaware of this part of the story, as I was neither guardian nor involved with kin. But what you heard, as far as I know, is correct. An order was given from Warden to Wimfo, and for some reason got lost in translation and wasn't passed on to the kin. So when the threat was defeated, the kin were told to go home. However, many of them felt that they were bullied into going to the Sept and didn't have a home anymore or a job to go back to. And they demanded was done, was needed to be done. In a way, I think they were right. The way I see it, kinfolk and Garou have a symbiosis with each other. One cannot live without the other.
I mean, that depends. Apparently, that's not what some people believe, from what I heard.
I think I know what people you are referring to. And although those words have indeed been spoken, they were also spoken in anger. And we all know what anger can do to one's mind.
Mm, well, that's true, except that when when your dog, when your dog is angry with you, or your horse, or any other kind of animal companion, and they're not very happy with their condition, screaming at them and threatening to beat them, with a stick, it's generally not gonna work.
Mm.
Somehow,
But
talking nice works better.
mm, I agree. But remember the previous situation that I just explained to you, where actually the talking nice didn't work and the shouting and screaming did.
Ah, yes. So obviously, if it works once, it works
It
a second
is
time.
it is a logical conclusion that if the previous time the nice approach did not have an effect, that naturally you would first try the approach that did have effect. It is not a logical way to think. However, it did not have the effect, and kinfolk started shouting at Garou. Garou started shouting at kinfolk. Garou started to shout at Garou. I was present at that point.
You were
I
playing the harmony flute, if I'm correct.
Yes, you are very informed for someone only 3 days on Sept. Impressive.
You would be surprised at how it's easy for people to talk with someone who's new, doesn't have any tie to anybody.
That's fair. Yes, I was playing the harmony flute until there was a point where I stopped because the situation was running out of hand quickly, and everybody trying to interfere did not have the wished effect. I put in my thoughts on the situation, and from there on, Jacob and Kache were able to calm the crowd down further, and I left. As far as I know, they are still working on it.
Hmm. Yeah, that's more or less what I got from Katya and Jacob Raya.
And if you already knew the story, why ask for my opinion on it?
Well, because you have your own personal opinion, and you're very factual. You don't get, mm, how can I put it nicely? You don't get enamored with your own rhetoric and anger towards people.
I can be, just not on this subject.
Indeed. But I see. Yes, at least the picture is coming a bit clear, even if apparently from the strider's own admission, they they help them find job, but they haven't really had a meeting with the kinfolk representative. So I guess I hope my conversation with them will help them remind themselves that making promises and not keeping them, it's definitely something a kinfolk is not going to forget. And strangely, not Garu also. Generally, when you make a
Hmm,
promise and you don't keep it, yeah, people tend not to forget because they're not idiots.
this is true.
Hmm.
The only thing that I have an opinion about is that I do think that all Garou who were present there, in essence, were trying to defuse the situation. That the approach may not have worked does not mean that they weren't trying.
Hmm. Indeed, just means that they need, you know, personal, uh, personal talk about Garu kinfolk relationship, or just have a talk one on one with people in a not tense situation.
That might be appropriate,
Hmm, appropriate
but
and
it's,
probably not easy to have.
for a Garou to have a not tense situation is rare indeed.
Uh, but yeah, at least. Hmm?
Please go on.
No, I was gonna say that at least you, Katya, and Jacob Raya gave me gave me a pretty good image of the situation. I may talk further with other people involved, but hmm, I will be patient and watch and see what transpire from this.
So your curiosity regarding this subject is satisfied.
Yes, for now. My other curiosity, honestly, would be regarding that meteor thing, the thing of the apocalypse that reside in the museum,
Mm.
and and also is having a frog, dogs, and cats around also a sign of the apocalypse? Because no, because like genuinely, if that's the sign, then I don't know what to think of a worm, but that's very twisted.
As far as I'm aware, that is a different subject.
Oh, okay, okay, not death
But I
threatening.
do not have all the details of that situation yet. Although it does have to do with the worm.
What doesn't have to do with the worm?
What does it have to do with anything?
Hmm,
Everything is connected in a sense.
that's a very deep question. I'm not gonna fall for that trap.
There's this, again, this small smile.
But yes, sorry for interrupting you. I'm all ears on the subject of the apocalypse.
There is still so much vague to me that it's difficult to really point out where it began, but a long, long time ago,
He can actually far, far away. As he murdered to himself.
she raises an eyebrow at that. She does obviously not understand that reference.
And, he feign ignorance. It's like, oh, yeah, I didn't say anything.
A long time ago, this meteor apparently crashed onto our Earth. It was found by the Uktena and they kept it safe, as they did not inside. They knew something was inside, but not whether it was something to assist Gaia or something to not assist Gaia. So they kept it safe, they guarded it. Until recently, things started happening. The first thing we noticed was the Uktena tribe acting more secretive than usual, which led to the current, well, the situation I earlier described
Ah,
with
yeah.
the first kinfolk riot.
Yeah. That makes sense.
It was later on when we started to experience dreams, strange dreams, unfamiliar ones. From there on, we realized that something was wrong, but we were still not in the know of this meteorite or its whereabouts, or what it meant. It was during a mood where one of the Uktena theurges and one of their ancestors spoke to us that they explained the dire situation. And it was not much later when tentacles started to attack, lash out. They cannot be seen by the normal eye, not even in the Umbra. It took us the special sight of the Dream Ravens to be able to fight them. They took gnosis from our septs, from other places in the city. They heard spirits, which was one of the first signs that something was wrong. Many spirits that lived on the border of the sept got wounded, came to us for aid.
Mm.
This is most of the information that I have so far from it. I know there is something inside. Together with one of the other theurges, I went to the museum to check it out. Touching the meteorite itself sucks away your, well, Gaia's given energy, or gnosis. But if you do touch it and listen very carefully, there is a lullaby being sung. I've taught that lullaby to Galliards and theurges on Sept, those who were willing to listen, as it provided a calming effect on the tentacles and made it easier for us to defeat them. There have been several attacks and on our sept, and also The magical places in the city, the few that there were, have been drained. We saved one of the spirits that was holding one of these places and that now resides on Sept.
Hmm.
As far as I know, there is not a clear-cut solution as to how to stop this thing yet,
Hmm.
which is troublesome.
I would agree that this is troublesome and probably frustrating for futures.
Very much so.
But the Sept have survived many trials, so I guess I must conclude that the futures of the Sept are capable of defending it.
I can only hope.
Hmm. Uh, Hope is good. Better than the opposite.
I think there must be a way to bind it, but I am not sure if any of us would be strong enough.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I'm sure there must be a piece somewhere. Honestly, currently, my only solution that I would give to people is bind it to the rock and throw the rock into space. But I don't think we have the rocket power to do so.
Um, I I do not know how to send something back into space.
Yeah, I mean, me neither. Outside of making a rocket, and I don't have a degree in rocket science.
Neither do I.
Hmm. So I guess we'll have to come up with another solution.
Yes. This is as much as I know about it.
Well, this is far much more than I knew yesterday.
And it
So
will be
then,
less than you know tomorrow.
exactly. So I'm very fine with today. Tomorrow is a problem for future Raphael. Well, thank you for this conversation. I have enjoyed it greatly. I hope you have at least have a small sense of enjoyment in my company. But I think I need to go. Got to move, all the things to my new place. And also find if I can sleep somewhere in the sept, or I'll have to dug myself a hole.
There are many cabins that hold our packs. I presume that if you plan to stay here, well, I would advise you to choose one of the packs.
Who knows? Maybe this whole conversation was only a very, very convoluted plan to make a prospect pack situation. Who knows? Maybe I'm just talking out of my ass and just saying stupid things to sound smart, which doesn't sound very far from the truth, also.
Well, in the first case, I would wish you luck with these conversations with the rest of the Sept.
Yes.
And
I.
in the second case,
Mhm.
I would wish you luck with yourself because that must get very annoying, especially if you don't forget what you said yourself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No. Every now and then, I walk alone in my room and talk to myself in a mirror, and that guy is a prick.
She doesn't understand the joke. She's just staring at you blankly.
Yeah. And he will nod at her. Well, I will see you again probably because this sept is not that big. It's bound to happen at some point.
Yes, we will see each other again.
Mm,
Thank you for your introduction.
no problem. Thank you for bearing with me.
No problem.
And with that, Raphael, Raphael is just gonna walk off into the distance as he is organizing his dossiers and file into his mental library.
And Slatahin will return to the lake and goes for a swim.
We thank you, player, for playing, watcher for watching, and we'll see you next time on Rage Across New York. Well, then you